Hey, everybody. And it's funny that we talk about this as being small, right? Because it used to be that if we were in the admin building and like 10 people showed up for a PA meeting, like that was a really good meeting turnout, right?
When you told me that, Alan, I was like, that's so wild because every time I've been on these calls, it's been so many more people than that.
Yeah. Well, you know why? It was because like 45 people were just hoping to find out that COVID was canceled
Yep.
and they could send their children to school at 7:30 in the
Yep.
morning.
Totally.
Um, but yeah, hey everybody. It's just a few of us today, so like assuming you're not in the bathroom or whatever, totally feel free, leave yourself off mute and turn on your camera. Just um I don't have a script to like head us off today, but I am going to throw away the 5 notes that because it's just us. So yeah. Today we're mostly talking about next year, and right off the bat we should just me and Trisha should just sign off and say, here you go, Sarah. This is all you now. So yeah, round of applause, Sarah. She accepted the call. She answered the my text message.
I did.
Said
Thank
that
you,
she would do it.
Sarah.
He knew all the right words. There was a few key words that he used, and I was like, I now I have to do it.
Yeah.
But I'm very honored. I'm very excited about it.
I said I would wear a dress, sequins. No, thank you. I won't say all of the awesome things I said in front of the commission, but yeah, I'm really excited to see what she will bring on the big macro scale for next year. She's been working her butt off on our second grade team, and yeah, she's got great vision and she works really hard. So yeah, we're so happy about that.
Thanks.
Trisha, we're not done with you yet.
I tried to not join the meeting today, but then I realized I was hosting it with my account. So what could I do?
Yeah, you're pretty much stuck. That's the best. Okay. Sarah, do you want to say anything? Is there anything? I don't know. Like no pressure.
Sure, I always have something to say. Yeah, I'm really excited, and I think for me, this last year was this year, as a second grade parent, was my first year being involved in PA, and I was surprised, not totally surprised, but excited about just how it gave a great tie into the community in a new way, like having connection with parents on a regular basis, learning how some things worked that I didn't know about how they worked before. Feeling like I had like more access to how parents can be involved and have their voices heard and all sorts of things like that. So I'm just excited to continue to be a part of that in a new way and to be able to I think that I felt like I needed to be at the school for a certain amount of time before I like had permission to have a voice or make waves. and and so just wait. Permission has been granted and I'm just excited that I feel like that administration and parents are very open to conversations and conversations about growth and conversations about doing things in creative ways and learning how we can best serve everyone and meet everyone's needs and keep moving as the world changes in so many different ways. So I'm looking forward to being a part of all that.
Awesome. Um, thank you so much, Sarah. Trisha, I'm just looking at the agenda that I wrote out was looking forward, and we've already introduced Sarah as next year, but like there were some questions about like script, right? Should we just announce what
Sure.
we know about
So
that?
yeah, so there were some questions surrounding year-end script gifts, and I have to admit that when I got asked the question, I was kind of caught off guard, like, oh, right, there was one more thing we needed to wrap up logistically. So I touched base with the script group today, and they would like class donations to come in by the end of the month, so around the 28th. Was a specific date that was reached out. Of course, they're always flexible if you have other considerations, but I think most of the classes did take the approach of making their collections earlier in the year. If that's not the case and you need more time, then just reach out and connect with Script on your plan so that they're kind of anticipating that yours is coming before they start, tallying out the gifts totals for the teachers and having them go through and make their selections for cards. If you're not doing script gifts at the end of the year, there's no pressure to do so. And if you have individual families in the classrooms that want to make direct gifts to script, they just need to reach out and email the script. We have the online form if you want to use it. There was a number of kind of logistical challenges last for Christmas that we can kind of see if that's going to happen again. I think we resolved most of them, Dee. I don't know if you want to pipe in a little bit on that, but I think it worked pretty smoothly towards the end. So you're welcome to use that script link that's on the PA site. But also, you know, the year-end gifts are a little less logistical challenge just because you're usually giving primarily to the teachers and the assistants at this point, and Christmas is sort of our bigger collection. So if you're doing that, you could shoot off an email to script. It doesn't matter to them how you actually get the information in and send in the funds.
Trisha, I'm realizing very quickly now that this should have been a bigger bullet point in our agenda. This is just something that we're used to doing, right? It's the end of year gift for the teachers that is typically given just in the form of script, right? Like that's the purpose.
Right. Yeah. So taking it back just umbrella level. So typically what we do throughout the year is kind of a reminder to people and people who maybe weren't involved in PA earlier discussions this year. Typically what the classes have done historically is they collect funds centrally and then they distribute gifts through script, which means that, you know, we're kind of maximizing the gift because it goes to the school, but also to the individual because of the return from the script program. So we're supporting the program and also supporting the teachers. It also is something that teachers really like. It's nice for them to be able to kind of choose the gifts that they're going to target for their gift cards and things like that. And anyway, so it's a well kind of running program, long tradition. And certainly though, you don't have to do it if you want to do something else. You guys can decide at the class level, but most grades do collect centrally. And then what they do is they distribute Christmas gifts and then they distribute year-end gifts.
Cool. And Dee is going to make sure that the form is still up on the website. And oh, are you checking right now, Dee? I'm sorry. Oh, you know,
So I think Chris did. Yeah.
Question there on that. Dee, are you in charge too of checking to see if we had any changes? I think we had like new facilities folks, because I know Trisha had mentioned a lot of times we focus more on the teachers, but for 7th grade, we're going to distribute more widely because that we had no junior high, middle school kids on campus at December. So like we didn't quite go as broad because they weren't using the facilities and stuff. So we want to make sure we're recognizing those folks in June. So if we could just do a quick, I think at some point somebody had brought up that they might have been missing somebody on the form. So if we can just do a quick, make sure it's accurate would be great.
And Miss Lochner for Miss Costa too, filling in for her maternity leave.
Okay.
But I'll run through it with you.
It has a student teacher. I don't know if we want to make sure she's added as well. 4th grade, sorry, not 2nd. Fourth grade has a student teacher who's taken over for, I think, at least a month.
Okay. Got it.
we're so lucky that Dee is in PA as well. Otherwise, you also mentioned to email script. You wouldn't happen to know Maggie's email address, would you?
So Script has its own email at the
school.
Oh, really? So
okay.
Yeah. And we can circulate it. It's on their site as well. And so to clarify Anne's question, so end of year scripts is just for teachers. So there's no standard. I think what I'm kind of speaking to is what is more typically done. So during Christmas, usually the gifts are more spread out where you're involving administration, you're involving, facilities, people in the parish. It's just more widespread. And then towards the end of the year, what we've always seen is people kind of give primarily to the teachers and the assistants. So the more targeted classroom level gifts. But there is no standard for that. And you really can just decide amongst your individual grades, how you want to distribute those funds that you've collected. It's just also kind of a dollar thing. You want to give a nice, meaningful gift to your teacher. So you might want to give them $100 and then $50 to the assistant. And then, there's probably not a whole lot left to kind of play with. Although if you are going to spread it out amongst the other staff at the school, just keep in mind that a lot of grades do, everything accumulates and they can roll it forward as well. So if you're giving $10 or $5 or something like that, it's not a meaningless gift at all.
Cool. Do you guys have any questions? Chris, does that cover everything though? Like, would you like to talk to the hospitality people and just be like, hey, just so you know, this is our thing. I hope it's been on your radar this whole time, or would you like us to reach out to them?
I can send out a reminder. I was going to check in with them, the team, for sort of year end, so I could just let them know. Was it May 28th, Trish, you said they were asking for? Kind of right.
Yeah, that's the date I got today. If anything changes, I'll let you know. But
yeah, I can let them know and remind them of the link if that's something that they were planning to do.
And we'll do actual meeting notes after this meeting, because these are details that I don't know if everybody's going to watch the recording to sift them all out. Okay. Any other questions, you guys? All right. Yeah, so let's talk about next year. And if you guys have any feedback on this year, because it all kind of relates, because it's just like, we're not going full open sky yet. I hope that's okay, Sarah. But I think that it's important to kind of set the bar, find out where people are now, and you don't have to marry yourself to any of the things that you say right now, like permanently. It's just like for meetings, if we went back to right after drop off on the first Friday of a month in person for the fall, like how are you guys feeling about that right now? If yeah, just open question. Very curious. Oh, don't make me call on you.
I'll start. I would say I would personally be comfortable, but I do think another reason why it's been larger attendance this year is one, the ability that I can be cooking dinner while I'm talking to you guys. So like that helps. And it's just easier. So I do like that we've been able to have so many more people this year, even though I do miss getting together in person. So I don't know, maybe we explore a hybrid or something. I say maybe you explore a hybrid. I don't explore a hybrid of like 1 month in person, 1 month Zoom or something like that. Just that way. And I think Chris, maybe one of your years we did that, right? Like 1 year, like 1 month it was in the morning and 1 month it was in the evening or something like that. Just so that way you can kind of get a variety of people, but we still have that in-person connection, but it does give more people an opportunity to join, depending on what their situation is.
Yeah. Or could we even keep a Zoom option? So like Lauren, at this point, assuming nothing goes crazy during the summer, I personally would also feel comfortable getting together, assuming we have space and depending on how many folks. But maybe we do keep a Zoom option available, and other people who can't make it into the school, still at work or cooking dinner or whatever the time. Yeah. Might be an option.
Yeah.
And Alan and I had a bit of a conversation about this last week, and one of the ideas also was like maybe quarterly in person. So either the back, whether it's every other month or quarterly, having something. I think whatever it is should be like somewhat formulaic. So if it's like the first whatever of a quarter, or something that's predictable, so that people's schedules aren't like it's over here and then it's over there. But other than that, I think a hybrid could work really well to accommodate people who can be in person. And then also I agree with Lauren's point about accessibility for those who can't be in person.
I mean, I especially appreciate how hard it is to make it for this 5 p.m. on a Thursday, right? Like, especially now that the weather is getting nice and all the kids have started back up with sports and we're all taxi drivers again. But do you guys, I don't know, I feel like we should have held a poll coming back from Christmas as to like, or when more kids started going back to school, because I feel like more people were happy with the right after drop off on Friday, but maybe my small poll hasn't been enough people. You know, is there anyone that actually prefers this 5 p.m. time of the people that are here?
This is Anne here. I mean, I think that this time works well for me only because I'm at work during the day and I don't have the flexibility to log into Zoom unless it was over lunch. But just based on what I do, I have no time to stop
Yeah.
seeing patients. But that's just my unique situation.
Your patients don't want to come to a Zoom call with you?
That might affect my score, my rating scores. Yeah.
And
I do-
Lauren, you like did I see you raising your hand, Lauren, saying that you like the 5 p.m. better?
I do like the 5 p.m. better. It kind of, for me, and this is completely personal, just sort of meets a sweet spot of before my evening meetings, but not combining with my workday meetings. But again, that's
Sure.
entirely personal to me. Yeah, whatever the consensus is, we'll make it work.
I think there's a big accessibility component for working parents to consider the 5 o'clock option. That's like my personal take on it. Granted, I know a lot of people have workday flexibility now and more so than they've had in the past, but that said, like I value and crave deeply in-person time right now. So that's where I'm like, let's do both.
The extroverts in the room are like, let's just do everything. Let's do both times. Okay. No, this is good information. Like even you guys work hard, right? You guys work hard and you guys volunteer a lot. It's important that you make it. So, yeah,
And
we
I
should.
would just say, this is Kinsey, not Cole. I'm logged onto Cole's computer.
You don't look like.
I agree. I think some hybrid would be nice because I also have kind of an inflexible work schedule without the ability to work remote. So the after drop off meeting, I probably wouldn't be able to make regularly, but if there was a Zoom option, that would be nice. But I think the evening can be a little more accessible for working people. But if something was quarterly after drop off or something, that wouldn't be missing out too much if you couldn't make that quarterly after drop off meeting.
You know what I'm doing right now. I'm knocking on wood that the school isn't going to need those owl cams come the fall. We could just like C-SPAN style stick an owl cam right in the middle of an in-person meeting. And anyway, no, this is really good. Thank you guys. And if you have anything else to say about that, please speak up. This is great. Paul, when I was leaving school today, reminded me that we will not know what September 1st will look like until August 31st. So, and I assured him that we're not making any plans. It's just kind of good to set the bar, kind of get a sense of it. And it sounds like, at least for the most part, is anyone feeling pretty uncomfortable, like with, I don't know. I mean, I can only speak for myself, but like the parents that I'm close with at the school have all gotten at least one vaccination. And, yeah, that's making me feel pretty confident that come fall time, I'll be ready. That said, I don't know if I would be ready. I'm fairly certain I would not be ready for a big barbecue this summer. And I don't think that's going to be on the table at all. But as far as events go for the coming year, how are you guys feeling? Like if we're somehow given the go ahead, and again, knock on wood, go ahead to host some kind of a dance come next February, March, is that crazy? Are we doing the wrong thing? I mean, I know that's a year from now, but how would you guys feel about that?
I think we'll have to see, but I mean, I'm pretty optimistic that we're going to return to normal at some point. And, I'm pretty optimistic that by then kids will be eligible for vaccination. And so I think that's possible.
They're saying that 12-year-olds might be might get access to those vaccines pretty soon.
Yeah, any day.
Promising. Makes me wish even more I had a 12-year-old and not an 8-year-old.
What are they thinking for the auction? I mean, is there any thought to whether that will be virtual or?
I think
Lauren?
they're thinking. I think
Lauren,
they're
Lauren
thinking.
left the room.
Yeah, that's the moment that Lauren chose to leave.
It's not my circus next year, so I mean,
Yeah.
I don't make that decision, but I mean, we certainly hope it will be. We in the Royal We certainly hope it will be in person, but we do have contingency plans in place, which is great because we already have that contingency plan in place. And for whoever wants to lead the auction, they just come in and I hand it to them. Thinking.
How much are you chomping at the bit for somebody to just receive that gift from you?
Very much so. So, you know. Trisha turned her camera off. I feel like she thought I was going to make her do it from afar.
I took co-chair, so I could not be asked.
It's the last corner in Trisha's triad. She's done script, she's done PA.
Yeah.
That auction to get the triple crown.
Hey, Alan, I've got to run pick up a
I
kid.
moved
Oh, yeah.
Check.
Thanks,
Check
Chris.
on the notes later. Thanks.
Yes, yeah, they'll go out. If not tonight, then tomorrow morning.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Thank you.
It was my sole reason for moving to an island with 2 bridges, Lauren, was the non-auction ask. I had to have something.
We'll send a note to your new school. I'm sure they'll have a need.
A letter of recommendation.
They'll put me on loan.
I mean, it sounds like everybody's pretty hopeful about just anything about a return to normalcy for next year. And, you know, I'm not going to you know.
And they are planning I'm sorry, my dinner's beeping, but they are.
Do it.
They do have, you know, right now the endowment dinner is planned for October, and that's planned to be in person in Egan.
That's right.
So even earlier, when you're saying, is it crazy to start thinking about a February dance? I mean, the school, obviously there are contingent plans for that endowment dinner.
Yeah.
But the school is considering that we'd be able to have a large scale in-person event in October. So
I think what's different about that though is that it's got everybody who currently has access to vaccines, right? So I think that's just the big question, and people are more protective of their kids than they are themselves. But yeah,
I think maybe the approach too is that, you know, I think just in life, when everyone kind of comes to a level where people are feeling comfortable and we're actually technically able to hold types of events like that there's going to be a very large enthusiasm for it. So I think you should kind of prepare for the fact that, you know, once you get the green light, I think that'll be so important to move forward with. And it's going to be kind of shocking too, because none of us have really done any of this in a long time. Right. Yeah. So it's sort of like after we all kind of started driving again after the first 4 weeks of the shutdown, and you were like, I don't know how to drive, you know, but it comes back quickly. But, you know, it'll take a lot more planning, I think, on the part of the PA to pull that together.
Well, and don't you think we'll get to a point where you can have an event and there are going to be some people who aren't ready and aren't comfortable and won't go, and other people, such as myself, who are like, just ready, let's do this. So I think you're going to hit different levels.
Yeah, Julia is asking for 2 meetings every month, just one in the morning, one in the afternoon. I'm just kidding. You've been pulled into enough meetings.
I you know what? If we start having in-person meetings, I will show up at all of them, especially if they're at 5:30 when we do dinner. So I ran away.
I know. I feel like some people were suggesting that 5:30 is a hard time. I think some of us are like, this is the best time. Like, I don't have to do dinner. Someone else is making it.
Dee, how do you feel about events next year? Can I put you on the spot?
I think we should plan, because the worst case scenario, we can't go through with it. Best case scenario, we have something in place if we can go through with it.
Yeah.
Right. And it doesn't hurt to plan.
Yeah. The hard thing, I think, is always like getting ourselves on the calendar.
Yeah.
right? Especially when, assuming there'll be some sports going on next year.
Mhm.
Yeah, battling for that gym or
And that
even-
might be the bigger wild card, is like sports, knowing if sports are going to happen
Right.
and what space they're going to take up. That might be like a day before school kind of a thing too.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, this is good. All right. So then,
I just want the big street party out on 79th Street with lots of drinking.
Same.
yes.
Same.
Hey, you know, we met. Can I tell you a secret? This has nothing to do with the meeting, but yesterday I met with the city lady who is designing the Stay Healthy Street, and she came out to the school to like check out our traffic thing and give us ideas about what they want to do with that street. Did you know that because of that Stay Healthy Street, you don't need a permit to host a block party now on that street? You can just do it.
Wow.
So tell your
What are they going to
tough.
do with the streets around there? It does make it tough to.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, so she had some really good ideas, but nothing will be affected until at least late summer. But what she's talking about doing is making that strip. Well, you're probably more concerned about the traffic. So let's talk about the traffic first. They're talking about putting like positive signage that isn't like punitive, like maybe she suggested maybe like paint on the road, letting drivers know that they could take the right off of 79th onto First there. And like and that paint would say something like Eagles fly right, or Eagles on board, like a safety focused thing, and like a playful kid focused thing, like a really positive thing, rather than a punitive, like you're not allowed to drive here between this time. And as soon as we got into that, it also got hairy because like nobody's, like police aren't going to come by to arrest somebody that's taking a right at the wrong time. Yeah, that's the sort of stuff that we're talking about. You'll start to see it, I think, pretty soon south of 79th. I wish Paul was here to talk about this, but you'll see they're gonna switch out those giant orange traffic garbage cans. What do you call them? I don't know.
Buckety things.
The buckets. Yeah, they're gonna change out the buckets to something that's a little bit more pleasant. And very like positive community focused things. That's what they're focused on. And in areas where there are more kids, or it's just like already like the park or the schools, like Greenwood Elementary is collaborating with them to like design actual stuff for that little chunk of First, and the kids want to like draw things, and for us there are a lot of opportunities, like maybe if it's it might be like an option for outdoor education. Yeah. So that's
are all
Well,
the,
I think-
oh, go.
No, you can go ahead.
So are those permanent Stay Healthy Streets? Is that the?
yeah,
Okay.
it's looking permanent. That
Okay.
is, yeah. They
Yeah.
we on the call with the city last week, they said that when they sent a poll out to the neighborhood, they received 800 something replies, and they got, of those, more than 85% positive. So it sounds pretty permanent.
Yeah, and Kinsey, we talked about this at school commission last week, and I think an important takeaway and sort of kind of highlighting what Alan was talking about is that the school's super involved with it. I mean, it is difficult for the traffic, but they're really partnering with the city to figure out ways to make it work for the flow of traffic and drop off and things like that. So there's a lot of moving pieces, and they consider this a top priority and concern.
And for what it's worth, the woman, her name is Katie. I can't remember. Katie? No, her first name is Katie, Kadie. And she was super sympathetic to our traffic woes. And you know, yeah, she wants to help us.
Yeah.
So for whatever that's worth.
Okay. Yeah, and I know this isn't part of the agenda, so I'll stop.
We've been talking about it for way longer than I ever intended to.
I know. But yeah, so is it, because I guess I think one challenge too is just finding it, is just parking, you know, not even, I mean, the traffic flow, but also just parking, because it feels like I'm not supposed to go onto the Stay Healthy Streets, but I have to park somewhere to go get my kids.
I think it's totally, yeah,
It's okay
like it's
to-
local access. It's
Okay.
local access. You're, you know, attending a business that's literally on that street. Yeah.
Right. Did you
And
guys know? Did you guys know that even pre-Stay Healthy, you could apply to get a permit to close your street for, like, our street was Mondays and Fridays from like 3 to 7 or something, and you're able to block off your street. And so, anyways.
Let's go, Shannon. That's why we ended up on this topic. I'm sorry, guys. I totally took this off. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Street parties should be an important part of every agenda.
Well, how about this next meeting? Because we'll be right. That'll be our last meeting of the year. We'll talk about like actual, you know, adults only kind of block party thing, and leave your kids at home in August, if that's even possible or reasonable. But I feel like it's, I feel like I should just go to Yonder right now. All right. So, do we have anything else on the agenda, you guys? Do you guys have anything else that you want to talk about? Because we can be done.
You said we
early.
do have one more meeting. We have one more meeting in June.
We have one more meeting in June. Is that okay?
It's your decision, Alan. You tell me.
You know what? Trisha put on the Word file that has our agenda. So that's what we're sticking with.
When is the next meeting?
Are you looking at the calendar?
I am
June
not.
3rd is what we have.
Okay. Thank you.
I should look at the calendar, make sure though that I'm like suddenly freaking out that that's like graduation or something. No.
I think graduation's in May.
Is it?
May? Am I wrong? No, Lauren. I haven't gotten the calendar.
I thought I heard that the 8th grade is done June 1st or something like that.
No, okay.
Well, yeah, because we'll do Memorial Day, and then last day of school is
The 11th.
the 11th. Because typically what we would do in a normal year is we would all just go over to Liz's house, right? That would be the one that we would all go to Liz's house and have pastries.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just show up.
Yeah.
Let's just go to Liz's house.
Go to Liz's.
All right.
Oh, it's June 6th.
Would you guys want to do an in-person for the, you know, outside for June 3rd, or yeah, like during the day or something? All right, we don't have to. It's okay.
Yes, at 5:30.
At 5:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, like in the early evening.
Yeah.
But wait,
A happy
Trisha
hour.
totally won't be able to make it.
You'll have to zoom me in. I'm not driving in traffic an hour.
Oh.
You can't. You are not getting away without giving like a big, tearful "I'm stealing the goldfish" speech.
The goldfish is
all right,
gone.
well, let's.
I pre-plan everything. We do need to start talking about, like, you know, recruiting people for next year and that kind of
That's
stuff.
true.
But you guys can decide if you want to even do it at the end of this year, or just kind of wait till the summer. I think people are much more adept at going with things as they come along instead of having to be super prepared, as we learned from this pandemic, right?
Yeah,
And be a little flexible.
I mean, you know, it's amazing the dedication and commitment you guys showed all through the year this year, how hard you guys worked to make sure that our teachers felt appreciated. Man, I wish Chris was here to hear this. So yeah, thank you so much. This is not what you signed on for. This is totally not what you signed on for, but you did it anyway. And that's just amazing. And you deserve to be thanked for that. If I can't get pastries to you next month, then we'll figure out a better way. And yeah, I hope that if you are not going to be part of the PA team next year, I'm sure you've got a really, really great reason for it. I would just love the opportunity to hear about it so that I could try to talk you into, sticking with us. And so please do that too.
Did you want anything, a post in News Views in the next month or so, 2 posts or 3 posts with signups, just to get the word out there?
I
and
was
just
going to
have-
ask, when does, I don't know these things, so I'm going to ask a newbie question. Like, when does this recruiting situation start?
So if I remember correctly,
Historically, we're talking about it at this point. We already have the signups out, so
Yeah.
I'll kind of bequeath those to you guys and hand them over so you can tweak them and send them out. There was some, I think, important dialogue at the beginning of the year that Alan and I kind of were regrouping about, about revamping some of the roles or adding in, another role somehow for the social justice component of the classroom levels and stuff. So it might just be part of a bigger discussion that's just going to take some time. It's hard because people want to know what they're signing up for too. So it's hard to just put out this ask that's like, hey, be the room parent. We don't know what that's gonna entail specifically, but we think it'll be this, so maybe we get a lot of signups, but it might be a harder year to recruit.
Hi. I was thinking, I think historically the last few years that I've been in, it's been an ask at the end of the year. And I think the first year I was at the school, I wasn't there at the end of the year. So that's how I got looped into it at the beginning of the year. But I've always wondered, I wonder why it happens at the end of the year when everyone is so focused on the year ending, not the year starting. And especially if, I think I've had some feedback just on the younger families, because that's all I know, on the roles, and they're always like, I don't even know what my role is, and I signed up for it. And then people are, anyways. So I love the idea of spending the summer, at least the early part of the summer, reviewing the roles. Are they the right roles? Life has evolved. Do the roles evolve? Do we need more roles? Do we need less roles? What do we need? And then rolling that out towards the end of summer, along with all the school information of back to school. Here's all the things to start thinking about. So.
I like that. I think that's good feedback. I kind of agree. Like, it took me a while to get involved because I wasn't sure what I'd be responsible for. And I really thought it involves writing a lot of emails. And Tracy Smith was like, you can do a job that doesn't involve writing emails. That's how I ended up on PA this year. So yeah,
I think historically the issue has been like, we start the year with PA events, right? Like, we were hosting the back to school barbecue first week, and it is like pulling teeth to try to get people to be like, you're back to school. I mean, there's excitement for back to school, but it's not to jump in and join the PA, right? It's to like get your kids out the door and sports, you've got soccer and all that stuff. And so to Julia's point, like, it's evolved because maybe or maybe not that stuff will happen, but it probably, at least this year, won't happen so back to back to back to back, that maybe there is kind of a leeway here to be able to kind of evaluate things a little bit longer. And actually would probably be a hardship to try to recruit now versus first of the year.
And does maybe the calendar year of the PA role not follow the school year, so that, this year's PA group, their last hurrah is the back to school barbecue. And then the next, I don't know, now I'm just brainstorming, but then the next group starts after that. And it's kind of like the, I don't know, passing of the baton or whatever as the back to school barbecue.
Well, and to clarify that, the back to school barbecue for PA used to be really intense. And now with all the support from Ethan Stoll and, Michael in the kitchen and all this, it's not the same thing at all. So that in itself kind of has changed, even in a normal year.
And I think this year more than any other, people are really burnt out. And so I think we might get more people signing up if we do it in the summer after everyone's kind of had a break, and it's been hard.
Sure.
Perhaps the ask now is to get a group of people to be like a role steering committee to talk about this together. So it's not all on you, Alan and Sarah, to come up with these roles in the beginning of the summer or between now and the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
I like that.
I do wonder. I do find myself now wondering if there are a lot of like I find myself wanting more feedback on the role delineations and what people's experience has been within their given teams, like their grade teams, and how we can help with that. Definitely.
And I think that aren't there like certain grades that do certain things? And I'm sure as you get into the school, into the older grades, you know more of what's going on. You know the people in the classes ahead of you, so all of that information is passed on. But now that we're kind of running this buddy family for new families at the school, I thought, well, why don't we, buddy up PA roles of like the 8th grade parents partner with the preschoolers or the kindergartners or whatever, just so you have some sort of connection. Because you get, a whole bunch of preschool parents on the PA because they're like, great, I'm signed up so I can meet people. And then they're like, we don't know what we're doing or who to talk to or where to go. And it would be just kind of fun to have some, familiar outgoing faces that knew what to do to tell them what to do.
Sure. I guess I mean, that's valuable. And at the same time,
Or is
I'm
that
wondering,
just more work for people?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like, my worry is also like, yeah, like, then people are going to find out precisely how much I don't know.
And I
No,
know,
like what if like the game of telephone happens and then it's like, oh, then this thing is now its own thing. And now it's like, there's just from a program perspective, what is the most inclusive way to do it, but also what is the most efficient way to do it. And that is, and it sounds like for some people, this was neither efficient or inclusive, right? Like if people at this point are like, well, how do I do my hospitality role? Then it's like, man, I really messed up, right? Because I know I've talked to a few people about that, but what did I do that, somebody felt like they couldn't just call me and be like, hey, what's going on here?
Well, and maybe that's part of that like summer committee that evaluates those roles, because when I started it almost seemed like it was pitched to me like, this is the way we've been doing it for 20 years. This is the way we do it. Don't screw it up. And I was like, but I don't know what that is. And I don't want to be creative and go outside the box. But would we be better off if maybe there was a little like, maybe we'd have some new ideas or new people coming through. So
I'm all for that. But also to just give you some context, and Trisha and Lauren, and I'm just calling on you because you're at the top of my screen, and I know you've been here for a minute, is that like we're still kind of making it up, right? Like that these role delineations, like the way that it's drawn up right now, like these weren't created 20 years. These were created like the year before I got here.
Yeah.
Right?
Like
It was
Trisha and I's
2.5
first year,
years
we
ago.
have role delineation.
Yeah.
We were just like on the kindergarten team.
Yeah. And if there's something valuable that was told to me our first year, it's that these roles are like drawn up for us to help us. But if those roles stop the second that they're not helpful anymore, you and your team make it work for you guys. But hopefully you'll have like your auction item up, right? You'll have class gifts out for Christmas and the end of the year. And then this year it's like this whole other thing. But yes, we should definitely do that. And I want to talk a lot more about it. Anyway, I said 12 minutes ago that we could end this early. Is there, let's plan on June 3rd. I'll reach out about potentially doing a outside thing. And I'll send out notes tonight or tomorrow. Is there anything else from anybody?
We would like to know what the Weissinger's puppy's name is. We need to know that puppy's name.
This is Nacho.
Hi, Nacho.
You can
We're
meet
big fans.
at intermediate pickup.
Hi, Nacho. Okay,
Oh,
thank you.
cute.
That's all we had. We needed to know the dog's name.
the
Anybody?
only thing I had to add, I think Dee, did Buddy family info go out in the news views today?
It is not. Information is up, but Buddy Family has not gone up. The forms are there.
Okay.
I think they're planning, I haven't heard from Jana. I'm thinking next week, but,
Okay, yeah.
but the signups are up. for volunteering to be a buddy family and to register for a buddy family.
And that's on the website on the new family page, or is that where it is? Or
Yes. So on that page, yeah, it's right there.
okay,
It's
so
already.
I would just encourage everyone and anyone who wants to be a buddy family next year that there's somewhere on the websites a link, and at some point in news views there will
Yes.
be a link, and you should keep an eye out for it because we're always in need of more buddy families. So we're doing it a little bit different this year, but it's pretty fun.
Thank you for the reminder, Julia. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
That will
thank you,
be in
Julia.
there for next week.
And I will definitely second that it is really fun. It's a good way to meet a new family. We haven't had a negative experience. It's been great. All right, final call. I got to say that I ended the meeting in 50 minutes. All right, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.